Hey, what's up guys, it's Marv and welcome back to another Asphalt Legends Unite patch notes video. That's right, this is not an Asphalt 9 update video. This is the official patch notes for the Asphalt Legends Unite update. And yes, you did hear me right, I said update and not download or anything like that, because I know some people were a little bit confused on how Asphalt Legends Unite was going to be released, and it will be an update to Asphalt 9. So that's how you'll go ahead and download it, just like any other normal update you would for Asphalt 9. So you don't have to buy another app or get another app. It will be delivered as an update. So that'll be really simple and straightforward for everyone to just download. But I want to just jump right into it because there is so much. And well, I guess before I get into all of the little details, I do want to say that I am not going to go over all of the minute details. There is a huge blog post with the patch notes. I'll link it in the description. I'm going to go over all of the big things that we haven't already talked about with Asphalt Legends Unite. For example, we know that there's the new Singapore track. I made a whole video about it. So I'm not going to mention big things like that, but I'm also not going to mention every single little event that is coming with the new seasons as well, because if you want to know that information, you can check the link in the description down below where you can read the full patch notes. Alright, so right now on screen, you can see one of the brand new pieces of information we got, and that is how the new garage level system will work. So yes, we did know that the garage level will increase, but we didn't know the full details. But now we know that the max stages are going to increase from 18 to 60. So that is a huge improvement. And the way that it's going to work is after you get to level 21, there are going to be two collector stages. So collector stage 1 and collector stage 2. They will have, of course, different point requirements. And as you can see in the video I'm playing on screen right now, there is a ton of new cars that you can unlock in your normal packs just by leveling up the garage system. So thankfully they didn't turn it into like currency rewards. It now works like the older garage level system, but just expanded. Now, I know a lot of people were also a little bit worried about what if you're at max garage level right now and you've just been accumulating a bunch of points over time without any increase in level. Well, don't worry, because your points will carry over and you'll automatically be leveled up to the new garage level once you log into the game for the first time. So you're not starting at 18 like everyone else. If you have a very big garage, your points will be loaded into the new system. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get on to the new cars, because that is also very exciting. So firstly, we have the Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport. Now this is going to be a pretty darn good S-Class car. You can see the base stats here as well as the max stats, and I do have to say, just by taking a look at these screenshots with the new garage gets me excited just on how much better it looks than the old one. But anyway, let's talk about the stats real quick. I'm going to try and go through these pretty quickly. You can see the max stats for the Chiron Pure Sport, and in my opinion, there's just a really nice combination of stats at the top with the acceleration, handling, and nitro, both of those being pretty darn good for a high-end S-Class car. The unfortunate part is that this is one of the, I guess, lower top speed Bugattis at around 250 miles per hour. So maybe this is going to play a little bit more like the Devo, where it's pretty good for multiplayer, but not anything crazy for those top speed oriented tracks. Next up, moving to yet another S-Class car, this is the Lamborghini Authentica, and this is definitely on the lower end of S-Class, and that's pretty obvious when you take a look at its 230 mile per hour top speed at max. Nothing too crazy, the acceleration doesn't even go over 80, so this is just something nice to have in the garage, but I wouldn't worry too much about this car, especially considering its rank. Next up, we have something that was a little bit leaked, kind of revealed earlier in one of the Asphalt videos, but we finally have the Porsche Mission R. And to a lot of people's disappointment, it is just a Class C car. Hopefully this means it'll be easier to unlock though, considering it's not some super high-end car. But you can see that the standout feature is definitely the acceleration. I believe this is an electric car, so that does make sense, but just below 88 acceleration is pretty darn nuts. So maybe this could be okay in some multiplayer situations, but I can't imagine this is going to be crazy for special events or top speed runs with those leaderboard events. Now, next up we have my personal favorite car in this update, and that is the Jesko Absolute. I hope this is going to be one of the best cars in the game, and you can see with the stats over 5k in rank, it definitely is shaping up to be. the obvious standout feature is the top speed. Now, if you didn't know, the Yesco has two versions, because you might be like, why is there another Yesco in the game? There's the Yesco Attack, I believe, and that is the more track focused car we have already in the game. And this is the Absolute, being the more top speed focused car. And this top speed is crazy. It's just about 336 miles per hour, which is nuts. So hopefully I'll be able to get this car. I know I've been saying that about all the top high-end S-Class cars for a while now, but I've saved up some tokens, and we'll talk about how this car is going to be unlocked maybe later on in this video. But yeah, I'm really hoping that I can get to this one. Next up, we have the Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 10th anniversary. What a name. But this is going to be a very generic B-Class car. Nothing crazy here. It has a top speed of 208 miles per hour. But as you can see from all the other stats, besides the nitro, they are pretty mediocre. But this does look pretty cool, I have to say. And I know the RTR has been something that a lot of players have been wanting in an Asphalt game for a while. Next up, we have a very interesting car. This is the Ford GT Frankie Edition. Now, if you didn't know, there's sort of a collaboration going on between Asphalt and Frankie Muniz. And in the promo video for Asphalt Legends Unite, he stated that his favorite vehicle is the Ford GT. And well, it's nice to see that he's getting his own special edition of that car. So it is definitely better than the stock Ford GT that we already have in the game. I mean, you can look at the top speed of 230. I believe by default it's around the same, but all of the other stats are vastly improved compared to the other Ford GT in B class that we already have. And last, but also kind of least, well, maybe, I mean, it's a pretty good A class car, but anyway, this is the Ferrari SF90X Stradale, and the acceleration is pretty good. Handling is also pretty decent, but top speed isn't anything too crazy. It's your standard A-class starting top speed at 224. So in Nitro, you'll get into the mid 230s, but obviously this is a track-focused car, so it's about that handling, acceleration, and Nitro. Woof, okay, so let's get into some of the big special events. Again, I'm not going to go into too crazy detail about other things, but you can definitely expect a lot of awesome special events. For example, in the first part of the season for Unite, we are getting the Unite special event, and that's going to feature the poster car of the Lamborghini Countach LPI 800-4. It's been a while since this car was fully available, so I'm happy to see it back. Next up, we are getting the next Drive Syndicate in Drive Syndicate 9, and this featured car is going to be the Yesco Absolute. That's why I was a little weary of being able to unlock it when I mentioned it earlier, but hopefully they've changed around the system this time around to make it possible to get through the entire event with just tokens. And there are a bunch of support cars such as the Mission R, the Enzo Ferrari, the Essenza SCV12, Ferrari SF90X Stradale, and the Bugatti Bolide. Alright, so taking a look at part 2 for Legends Unite, we are going to have a burst of speed. The Chiron Pure Sport is going to be announced in its special event. We have another rerun of the Bailey Blade GT1, and the Authentica is getting its own Grand Prix, so makes sense, that's how you're going to unlock this car. Now we're also getting the legendary weekends in sort of the form of a new thing called Unite Tour. So there's going to be 3 weekends, and that's going to feature a bunch of different cars to help players get up to speed with some very core cars, and it will be open to all players as well. So a lot of the things that are featured in Asphalt Legends Unite are going to be aimed at new players, such as a new login reward, all of these different events that are going to focus on starter cars, or maybe those cars that you might have missed if you were a new player. But again, these are all going to be things that older veteran players can participate in and sort of catch up if they missed anything, which is really cool. So there's going to be a back to school event as well after those 2 Unite special event seasons. We're going to have the Lamborghini Revuelto SE starting out for the back to school event. We're also going to have another burst of speed with some featured cars like the Ferrari 599XX Evo, which is nice, and the Daytona SP3 is coming back there as well. Alrighty, so the reason why I rushed through those events and the seasons is because I want to get to the real juicy meat of this update, and in my opinion that is the multiplayer. We haven't really had too much information about the changes coming to multiplayer, and I will probably have a dedicated video in the future explaining how the new multiplayer system works, because it is a little complicated, but I wanted to touch on it here because, well, it's a massive change, so let's get into it. So just like we have now, there will be 2 multiplayer seasons running concurrently. We're going to have the World Series, and we're going to have Multiplayer 2, which they have the names changed a little bit, but World Series is getting the biggest update. So firstly, gone are the class systems. We are now getting car filters reintroduced into the game, and I know this is very controversial, But if you watched my previous video on car filters, you know that I absolutely love this. This really helps to balance out the car selection in the game, and so it lets the developers balance the cars truly based on performance rather than just the number or the class that it's in. So hopefully this is going to reduce that sort of pay to win aspect, or maybe you missed a very important car that is dominating the meta at the moment. This is going to help sort of reduce that, hopefully, depending on, of course, how the developers choose the cars. So again, this is not ranking the cars based on class and grouping them together, but they are going to be more based on their rank. Now, we do have the current tier system, but there will be sub tiers as well. So that's gonna help because obviously with cross-platform, we're gonna have a ton of new players going into your lobbies. So because the current ELO system ranks players at a very wide spectrum, like obviously going from league to league, there's really a huge gap of players there. If you have an increased player base, this sub-tier system is going to allow for better matchmaking to hone in specifically where you are at on the leaderboard rather than just a large group of leagues. So this is just going to help when you're climbing up the leaderboard. You're not going to be ranked with someone way too high or way too low. Now, the World League is going to be a year-long experience, but it's not going to be just a whole year of one season because that's going to be annoying. It's going to be split into, well, 6 splits. And in each of those splits, there's going to have rounds. Those rounds will last 2 weeks. So I know it's confusing. That's why I said I'm probably going to make a dedicated video about this. But each split has 4 rounds. Each of those rounds lasts 2 weeks, and the whole year is going to have 6 splits. So again, it's confusing, but all you need to know is that the whole World Series is being broken up so that you're not constantly ranking and deranking in this one huge World Series that lasts a whole year. It's going to be similarly split up to the 2-week system that we currently have, but it's going to add together to a bigger system, which I'm really excited about because it's really going to help the players who love to grind those leaderboards hopefully maintain their status as the best in the game over an extended period of time. And just touching on the season series, this is going to be more of the MP2 experience, and there's going to be a more relaxed and open experience. So there's not going to be really any huge restrictions, especially with the car filters. That's not going to be a thing in MP2 here. So you can race with anything you have in the garage, but it's going to match you based on cars with a similar rank, which is awesome. Okay, so something that we didn't know up until recently is there is going to be a new game mechanic called speeders. Now, if you've played Asphalt 6 or Asphalt 7, you might remember little speed pickups on the track where if you drive over them, your car gets a sudden burst of acceleration and speed. And that is coming to Asphalt Legends Unite, which I'm really excited about. Now, at the moment, this is only going to be placed in specific events. So it's not going to be everywhere on every track all of the time. Hopefully they'll introduce this to multiplayer or maybe some other areas of the game because that would be fun. But just keep an eye out for where this new mechanic will be added to the game. Again, I think at the moment it's just special events, but nonetheless, this is really fun. Alrighty, so I know that was a huge video with a lot of information, especially about that whole multiplayer changes. That's huge. Again, I think I'm going to make a separate video sort of explaining about that just because it's a little bit confusing. But I mean, for most players, I feel like if you're just jumping into the game, you're choosing the best car you have access to, and you're going to try and beat all of the other players in your lobby. So it's not a huge deal. I don't think any of the multiplayer changes are downgrades per se, so I wouldn't be too worried if you're a casual player. You're still going to enjoy the multiplayer experience, and if you want an even more casual experience, you can go to that multiplayer 2 or season series where you can choose any car you want anyway. So I'm really excited for Asphalt Legends Unite. Of course, there's a ton of car and event content, but really I'm just excited about the core gameplay changes. As I said at the very beginning of the video, I wasn't really going to touch on the things we already know about, such as the new track and the co-op multiplayer mode, which I didn't touch upon too much, but yes, we do have some more details about it and some screenshots, which I'll be placing on screen right now, just so you guys can get a quick look at what that new co-op mode is going to look like. And I'm definitely going to feature that in streams with private lobbies because yes, we are also getting private lobbies, which again, we already knew. So yeah, all of these changes are really awesome, and I hate it because I'm so busy at the moment, but hopefully right after Unite launches, I'm going to be freed up to play with you guys, get in those private lobbies, host some tournaments, host some streams, private lobbies, all that sort of stuff. So I'm really excited to hop into the game and check it out once it launches July 17th or as an update. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys on the track on July 17th.